I strongly believe that any time you get into the habit of writing in your notebook, you will find when you're doing a big assignment, when you're doing a research paper, when you're making notes for a more formal piece of writing for school, for something else, it will be a little bit easier for you. It will be a little more comfortable because you're warmed up with language. Does that make sense? It's very difficult to write only when someone asks you to write. Then it can be very hard. But since we are users of language, it makes perfect sense that writing little things down on a daily basis is for all of us. We're all word users, and we all have the poetry channel in the brain that wants to stare at things, to ruminate, to meditate, to put little things together. I think if we're befriended by language in this way, we can never really be lonely, because a notebook is portable. You can carry it any place you go. You can put things down if you have a little moment between things. And it also gives you a place to look at words and respond to words. Back and forth. You can have your own conversation. I felt a few years ago that I was really losing a certain grip on my belief in adulthood or wisdom, because there was so much violence constantly talked about as if it was unnecessary in our current world. And one day, sitting at my desk, a sentence just came through the air, and I wrote it down, and I haven't turned it into anything. It was enough on its own, and this was it. Every act of violence, whether sanctioned, which I have real questions about, or unsanctioned, is a betrayal of language. We believe in language. Every act of violence is a betrayal of language. So I'd like to read you a few poems that I've written thinking about language and how, hopefully, we can know one another. This one is called Arabic Coffee. And if any of you have never had Arabic coffee, you know it's a little thicker, a little darker, very delicious. And I didn't even mark it in my book because I didn't know I was going to read it, but I just feel like reading it right now. You all could give the recipe while I'm looking for it. Here it is. It was never too strong for us. Make it blacker, Papa, thick in the bottom. Tell again how years will gather in small white cups, how luck lives in a spot of grounds. Leaning over the stove, he let it boil to the top and down again, 2 times, no sugar in his pot. And the place where men and women break off from one another was not present in that room. The 100 disappointments, fire-swallowing olive wood beads at the warehouse, and the dreams tucked like pocket handkerchiefs into each day took their places on the table near the half-empty dish of corn. And none was more important than the others, and all were guests. When he carried the tray into the room, high and balanced in his hands, it was an offering to all of them. Stay, be seated, follow the talk wherever it goes. The coffee was the center of the flower, like clothes on a line, saying, "You will live long enough to wear me." A motion of faith. There is this, and there is more.